today's video, we're going to take a look at Roku. Now, I already have a setup in Roku, but I do want to show you where it came from. And it is a buy setup. We're overall looking at general pattern of higher highs and higher lows. We have price clearly above the 200 simple moving average, the 50 simple moving average, and the 513 right now is still in a buy mode. So I do want to set up the buy side. I don't know if it's going to trigger an entry. Okay, you'll have to wait for that, but let's at least show you how it gets done. So I'm going to start by running, all possible projections, retracements, and extensions to identify a trade setup. What I'm going to start with are the projections, where I compare swings in the same direction. So in this case, I'm going to take the prior high to low swings and project from the most recent high, because a lot of swings tend to be similar to other swings on the same chart. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. This one we might be through, but let's check it anyway. Yeah, we're kind of through that one. How about this one? High to low. Yeah, you're a little bit through that one also, so we're not going to use that. We do have this larger swing that we can add. That will come in a bit below the market. And then the most recent high to low. Okay, we're actually right on top of that one. Now, this one I believe is too small also, so yep. We can't use that, so we already went through it. So now we have all possible projections from this last major swing up, right? So what else are we going to do? We're going to look at retracements of prior swings. So I'm going to start by just using this most recent swing and run retracements. So let's take the low to the high, okay, get rid of anything that we went through. We're going to take the higher low to the highest high, okay. We have something that overlaps there below. Then we have another, a higher low to the highest high. And you have to come from the highest high for the support, right? And then let's see, how about this low to this high? Okay, well, we went through the 618, but we are still above the 786. So you can see that we're starting to see a cluster here. I do want to get rid of a bunch of the levels that come in below the market, because it just kind of messes up the chart. We really just want to look at the next couple of decisions here. So let's get rid of all that. And then what else can we do? Well, the one other thing that we can do is we can run a price extension. So let's look at that. Okay, well, it looks like we have an extension we can run. It looks like we can run this low to this high and see where that comes in. So let's grab that. So we did the projections, we did the retracements, and now I'm doing an extension. And pretty much, yep, we have an area right here. Now, if we want to fill in the blanks, I mean, we already have like a decision right here. But if we look at the larger swing and then also add some of the retracements from there, maybe it'll cluster together a little bit better. So let's just do that real quick. Okay, we're going to run the low to highest high. We have one here, low to highest high. Here. Yeah, I think that'll pretty much do it. So again, I'm going to get rid of all the levels below because they're not helpful. We're not anywhere near them. But it looks like we have a couple of areas that's starting to stand out as far as possible support. And let's see if they're actual setups, because we need them to either be, symmetry by itself or a cluster. Well, I'm going to say that we have a couple areas to look at. The first one is 98.46 to 85. That includes a symmetrical projection and a 1272 extension. Now, since the projection is a setup by itself, you have enough price relationships here. Then we want to look at maybe this other lower one. Let's get rid of this one. I would say anywhere between this 96.48 to 96.89 area. Now, this includes a 382 retracement, a 1618 extension, a 100% projection, and a 50% retracement. Okay, and that's kind of where it clusters. So those are the two areas that we're looking at. Now, do you take a trade against this yet? Well, I don't know if we've had any buy triggers yet. Let me see if I can find that real quick. not crude, it would be Roku. This is, again, Roku. That's 1 hour. We need a 15-minute. Yeah, I don't have any buy signals yet. So we would need, for a swing trade entry against either of these zones, and actually I'm going to erase this too, would be a 15-minute 834 EMA crossover to the upside, which is the more aggressive swing trade trigger, or the 30-minute chart where you have the 834 EMA cross back to the upside. Now, if we do hold this first area, for example, then our target for a move off of this area would be the 1272, that's target 1, and the 1618 is target 2. If you needed another target, 2618 is always target 3. Let's say we don't hold this area and we test the lower cluster instead. Well, then we'd have to give you some new targets if it tests this lower zone, because then at that point we would measure this high to this low and extend upwards, and it would be an even higher target. So anyway, these are the two zones that I want you to focus on: 98.46 to 98.85 and 96.48 to 96.90. And if either of those hold and trigger, then it's worth looking at a trade. Typically what we'll do is we see that, we'll look at maybe an options strategy and go from there. If this helps, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe.